Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally unboxing and demonstrating the Tweed eyeshadow palettes from Chanel. We have been anticipating this launch for such a long time and I cannot believe I finally have my hands on these palettes. I was able to run to my local beauty boutique earlier this afternoon and pick them up one day before the official launch online, which was incredibly helpful. The boutique was decorated in tweed. I love all of the bright colors they incorporated. It just looks so beautiful. I was able to capture some video inside, so I'm going to show you what the official setup looks like. It's gorgeous. I ran home. I've been taking pictures and videos to properly document these eyeshadow palettes before we swatch and play around and destroy them. Because what makes this collection so special, the tweed protector, of course, but also each individual eyeshadow has that beautiful tweed design embossed right on the powder. I always say Chanel is first and foremost a fashion house, which is why it is so exciting whenever they incorporate the fashion side of the brand into the makeup collections. Kind of ties back to the history and the heritage, the roots of Chanel, which does happen every once in a while, and it is always a show-stopping moment. In recent past collections where they've done this, they've drawn inspiration from Chanel buttons, which are all iconic individual items, pieces of art. Chanel gold chains, which are used in fashion, accessories, all of the small leather goods. They've even done tweed blushes in the past. This is not the first tweed makeup collection we've seen. I felt inspired, so I pulled out my tweed beige and my tweed pink. This is the blush that I'm wearing today. They had this beautiful multicolor kind of woven effect with a beautiful shimmer right on top of the powder. But these blushes, as big of a hit as they were, and they sold out immediately, they came with the typical black velvet protector, unlike these incredible eyeshadow palettes, which we're about to unbox. So this is truly a Chanel collector's dream come true. I think if you consider yourself to be a Chanel lover, Chanel enthusiast, a Chanel collector of beauty, you are going to love these eyeshadow palettes. Now, if you are not a diehard Chanel fan, you might consider skipping this collection altogether. You may have already made that decision. And here's why. I can confidently say that before I even unbox and play around with these. The price of these eyeshadow palettes is $88 each versus $62 for a typical Chanel quad. So more in line with Tom Ford eyeshadow prices. However, you get less product, a lot less product. What makes them so special is truly the inspiration behind the collection. So if that does not speak to you on some sort of spiritual level, you can duplicate these colors even within Chanel eyeshadows. If there's not something currently in existence, I can assure you there will be at some point down the road in the near future. I'm going to go ahead and unbox these for you, starting with shade 01 Tweed Cuivre. Just look how beautiful this tweed protector is. It is so iconic, so true to Chanel. Tweed and Chanel really go hand in hand, and you can see it has this beautiful brown, orange, and gold stitching kind of woven into the cream. And each protector corresponds with the shadows inside. So you remove the protector. Each eyeshadow palette comes with the same plastic protector. You also get the two little sponges. And if you look really closely, you can see the tweed texture design embossed on top of each eyeshadow. In person, you can tell just how intricate this design is. It's beautiful. Whoever created the mold really took their time because it looks like tweed. It does not look like eyeshadow. I'm going to hold them side by side so you can see how the colors correspond. And this is what makes Chanel stand out. This is what makes this collection special. Attention to every single detail. When I was in store just walking around admiring the tweed displays and looking at the testers, I was told that these were actually sewn by hand, using material from the fashion side of the brand. Now, when I feel this tweed and when I look at it, you can see, little pieces coming out. That's normal. That just looks like a traditional tweed. It feels a little bit thin. Like, I doubt this came from a tweed jacket, maybe a lining somewhere. And then when you look inside, even more details. There's another material lined in there. And it has little CCs, little Chanel logos on the inside. I always hold on to the protectors of my powders, but in my eyeshadow drawer, in order to make room so I could fit as many eyeshadows in a row as possible, I threw out all of my velvet protectors. These I will absolutely hold on to, and not only am I going to keep them, obviously, I'm going to do my best to not get them dirty because they do sort of feel a little bit delicate. Like I think this could snag or rip in travel. It's not really going to protect the palette the way the traditional velvet protectors really act as a guard against scratches. So you just want to be careful to always pick this up with clean hands. You don't want any foundation or lipstick stains or spills getting on your beautiful tweed protector because it just feels a little bit delicate. I don't know, it feels special. They did an incredible job. It's a beautiful pattern. This looks gorgeous for fall, and you know, these are the colors that I live in, basically. So this is a palette that I will get a ton of use out of. Let's go ahead and swatch. I'm gonna start in this deeper shade up here. Next, I'm going into this shadow on the side. It feels really smooth and creamy. Coming down here into this corner. Again, the texture feels really creamy. The last shadow is this sparkly gold. I went ahead and did a second layer to build them up a little bit and make them a little bit smoother. I absolutely love each of these eyeshadows. The gold looks more like a light sparkly topper. These are really creamy and more intense. 01 is a no-brainer for me. I can already tell just by touching these eyeshadows it's going to look beautiful on the eye. I love this. I'm going to skip 02 for now because that's the purple palette. I'm going to unbox 03 Tweed Fauve because this looks like another warm neutral eyeshadow palette. I want to swatch this on my other hand so we can compare side by side. So this tweed protector also has some orange, but it's more of an orange, peach, deep brown. And these are the colors inside. It's very warm, kind of pumpkin spice latte, very seasonal, beautiful colors. It is honestly incredible. I don't know if this video is going to do it justice. When you look close, it looks like little individual fibers. That is how detailed this tweed imprint is. It looks like tweed. It looks like fabric. It's like you can see every little individual hair. It's so amazing how they do that. I'm going to start down here in the deepest shade. Going up here in the burnt orange. Next, I'm picking up this really pretty peach shade down here. This looks like more of a true gold, not just a sparkly gold. Here we go. I had to fix the swatches. That is not my dominant hand. But now you can see side by side how those palettes compare. These are all satin, slightly luminous shades with the gold topper. On this hand, these top two shades are matte. The peach has a little bit of a satin luminosity, and then the gold is metallic. But it's much more opaque and less sparkly than this gold. So you have two mattes, a satin, and a metallic. This is 3 luminous satins and a topper. Next, I'm going to unbox the 02 eyeshadow palette. This one is a bit more purple. It's kind of a deep berry purple, light pink, couple beigey neutral colors in there. These shades look a lot deeper and more intense in the pan than I thought they were going to be. I kind of thought this would be similar to a Camellia palette, some of the other pinky purple palettes offered by Chanel. But this looks a little bit more intense, a bit bolder for fall. I'm going to go ahead and swatch starting with this purple shade up here. It's actually very light. You know, I do my best to never watch reviews of a product that I plan to review because I just don't want to, give myself any bias. I don't want to sway my own opinion. But a few people commented saying that this one was actually very light and maybe a bit disappointing. That first swatch is a bit disappointing. It still feels very creamy, but definitely doesn't have the same pigment, the same impact as the previous two. So let's go down here. Oh yeah, that's pretty light as well. Going in the top corner, this is the light pink. Looks more like a pale, slightly pearly pink. Oh, that barely shows up. Which, this is just a swatch. I'm not going to judge it too harshly yet. But on the eye, I could imagine all of these colors would be very soft. Okay, so last but not least, we have the deep shade. Even that is a little bit lighter. When I went back for a second coat to build up the swatches, it definitely helped. You can certainly see the colors, see the shades a little bit better. These two are very similar. And that pale pink is so light, which is kind of funny. It's a bit deceiving. It actually looks a little bit deeper in the palette, but it's not. When I look really close at my hand, I can barely tell the difference between these top two shades. These two, I doubt you'd really be able to see a difference on the eye. It's not very noticeable at all. So you basically have 3 shades, I would say, in this palette. Reminds me a lot of the LeBlanc collection palettes that they usually launch in spring, which are meant to be a very specific style of makeup. Some people will really like that, some people will hate it. But I would say if you like very pigmented creamy eyeshadows, this won't be your top choice. And the very last palette I have to unbox is 04 Tweed Brun A Rose. This tweed protector is all browns, beiges, and cream. Very pretty. It leaves you wondering where the rose is. There is one eyeshadow in this palette that is slightly pink, but I would say this is another cool toned neutral eyeshadow palette. Reminds me a bit of Rivoli. I'm going to go ahead and swatch. I'm going to start with this top shade right here. It looks a bit light. It's a very luminous, light, taupey tan. It's very pretty though. Over here in the corner. And then this is the rose. This looks like the first sparkly gold. It's like a sparkly pink. Very pretty. Last but not least, the deep chocolatey brown. Ooh, now that is intense. Wow. This might be my new favorite. It's maybe tied for #1 or a very close #2. I love these colors. They're a little bit cooler, but still very neutral, very wearable. This could be a beautiful everyday palette. Doesn't remind me as much of Rivoli now. It reminds me of one of the Les Beige 5-pan palettes from Chanel. I'll have to grab it. I think it's maybe the light or the medium. I don't think it's the medium. I think it's the light palette. Has similar colors. Definitely has a similar sparkly shade. I love this for a pop of highlight in the inner corner or to highlight the brow bone. That's going to be beautiful. You have your depth or dimension, a little something on the lid, something on the crease. Done. This is a very user-friendly palette right here. You probably have all of these shades 10 times over in your eyeshadow collection. I'm certainly not trying to sell it to you. I'm just saying there's a lot to be said for an eyeshadow palette like this, which is why you probably have 10. I don't know if you want to duplicate something that you already have. You may just love the idea of the tweed palettes, in which case this is a winner. I am so excited to try this one. Ooh. This is more in line with the Les Beige 9-pan palette they came out with, which is also similar to Natasha Denona Glam. This would be like a little mini condensed version of that. Very sophisticated and elegant. I'm about to scoot in and begin the demonstration portion of this video, but I want to quickly break down strategy for you because I was hoping that I would have enough time to quickly create 4 different eyeshadow looks, use each palette. It's not going to happen. It's already getting pretty late and I need time to edit so I can have this video ready for you guys tomorrow morning. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to scoot in and create 2 different eye looks, one on each eye, using my 2 least favorite eyeshadow palettes, the 2 most questionable palettes from this launch, because 2 palettes are 10 out of 10. I think they're no-brainers. If you like those eyeshadow colors and you're interested in the Tweed collection, you're probably going to spring for them anyway. So 2 I absolutely love, 2 I feel sort of so-so about, but no need to worry. I will be dedicating the next 4 Makeup Monday videos to this collection, so we will thoroughly explore different eyeshadow looks using each palette in the future, but just for the sake of this initial review, I think that's what will be the most helpful for you. The first 2 Tweed palettes we're going to play around with are these. This is 02 Tweed Pourpre, our pinky purple, and this is 03 Tweed Fauve, a really warm, pretty pumpkin spice of a palette, beautiful for fall. This reminds me so much of the last 10 spring collections from Chanel. Very pretty, not bad, ugly palettes, but maybe the 2 I'm least confident in. I'm going to start with this side. Face is already done. All of the products will be listed down below. I'm starting with a Sephora 19 Pro Crease brush, and I am going to pick up this shade right here. And I am going to apply that to the crease. That is actually a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. I was prepared for nothing. And I am pleasantly surprised. With a fluffy brush, I'm just blending right on top of that shadow to make it a little bit softer. For the sake of conserving brushes, I did quickly wash a few brushes, but I don't have many. I'm gonna go right down here. I'm gonna pick this up and I'm going to apply this to the outer lid. Kind of outer V, outer lid area. This was the shadow that I thought looked exactly the same. And it basically does. That's disappointing. Not sure why they put 2 similar shadows in there. It's maybe slightly pinkier, but it basically translates to the same color. I just picked up this Refer 28, and I'm going into the very pale pink, and I'm going to apply this to the inner lid. How funny. On the brush, it looks very bright. I wouldn't say it's intense, but it shows up. I kind of knew that the arm swatch wasn't really fair. Just doesn't do a color like this justice. It's a very pale pearly pink, but it looks really pretty on the lid. That looks really pretty. I think this would be kind of the perfect soft everyday eyeshadow look. And I'm never really a huge fan of purples, but I think that looks really nice. I'm going to lean in so you can see the colors. Using the same Sephora brush, I'm picking up the deepest shade in the palette now. I'm going to tap that in the outer V just to see if we can add a little depth. It shows up a little bit, not much, but it's there. Picking up a pencil brush, I'm going into this bottom shade down here, and this is going beneath the lower lash line. I'm quickly going over the top with my fluffy brush and just making everything soft, blended. Okay, I still need to finish the eye with eyeliner and mascara, but it's not really all that bad. I think it's for a very particular makeup style. It's not my style. I generally don't wear a lot of purples, and I think I have a few other purpley pink eyeshadow palettes from Chanel in my collection, so had I not been reviewing the Tweed collection, this would have been an easy skip for me. But I do think if you love pinks and purples, if you like that sheer wash of color, something that's a little bit more fresh-faced, spring, could be a really beautiful winter daytime or ethereal makeup look, I think you will like this eyeshadow palette. I mean, it shows up on the eye. For as light as those swatches were, I have purple eyeshadow on. I mean, I can see it very clearly. You don't get a ton of variety in this quad. Unfortunately, these are very similar. This looks beautiful on the lid. This doesn't get that dark. So it's not like this will take you from day to night. You can go really light or really smoky. No, this is going to be a lighter, just a softer makeup look. I'm doing my best to be incredibly efficient here. So before I do eyeliner and mascara, I'm going to do the eyeshadow on the other side. So now I'm using 03 Tweed Fauve. I have a fluffy brush and I am going to pick up the peach. This is sort of the obvious place to start, and this is going in the crease. This peach is very light, a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. I had an idea that the purple would be light, but this is very light. Picking up a flat shader brush, I am going into this really pretty gold, and this is going on the lid. Oh no, what happened? This gold is not very easy to work with either. It's also incredibly light. Now, once you get it on there, it looks pretty, but wow, is this a really light gold? I don't feel, yeah, when I swatched it with my fingers, that looks incredibly opaque. Okay, let me try fingers. I think maybe the brush. Yeah, fingers is much better application. I was gonna say, it did not swatch like that. Feels really soft and creamy. That brush did not do that shadow justice. There we go. Now it's more of a vibrant yellow gold. Now that I have the bulk of the shadow done, I can go back with the brush and just kind of fine-tune the edges a bit. Next, I picked up a Rephr 13, and I am going into this really pretty terracotta, and I am going to add this to the outer lid, outer V area. Ooh, she's orange. It's pretty though. This palette just screams fall foliage. Pumpkin spice, everything nice. I'm so excited pumpkin spice is back. They don't do the sugar-free pumpkin, so I very rarely ever order it, but I think I'm gonna treat myself to a pumpkin spice drink. Maybe not the pumpkin spice latte, something different this weekend. Just to get in the spirit. This shadow is really nice. Easy to build up, easy to blend. Going back with my original fluffy brush, and I picked up a little bit more of that original peach just to see if I could help use that to soften the orange. It's just not ideal. I still don't think it's ideal. It does work though. Same brush, I'm going into this deeper brown, and I'm going to see if we can add a little bit more depth and dimension in just the outer V. So I'm going to keep it a little bit lower. Ooh, that is so pretty. See, now this palette makes me think of Thanksgiving. This is fall, Thanksgiving, pumpkin pie, cornucopia in an eyeshadow palette. I love this eyeshadow formula. It is different from the traditional Chanel eyeshadows. It's better. I really think this is their best eyeshadow formula. I hope they make all of their eyeshadows like this. really smooth. You can tell that they're packed really tight. They're very densely packed. So they feel a little bit creamy, velvety. They're more pigmented and they're just so easy to blend. Taking this down the outer lash line a little bit as well. I'm going to touch up that gold shadow really quickly. And for this, the brush works just fine. Just kind of blending out the center and then this bit, the outer lid area right here. I'm going to go ahead and just try to be really soft-handed with this deep brown. So with another little pencil brush, I'm picking up the deep brown. I'm going to very lightly buff this beneath the lower lash line. Yeah, it's not too dark. I know the eyes are looking a little bit crazy right now because they're not finished and I have two different eyeshadow palettes on, but if you made it this far in the video, you are in for a treat because I picked up one last thing when I was at the boutique. This is the Stilo You Waterproof in shade 52. I could have sworn this was an old rose gold eyeliner, but it is such a beautiful color. I was already on a bit of a spending spree. I figured it couldn't hurt. Definitely works perfectly with this eyeshadow. And it will look really nicely, I think, with the bronze palette, definitely. I don't know about the cooler toned palette. I'm going to try it on this side as well, just because. It's not a bad match, actually. I think it looks really nice. Because it's not too dark, kind of ties in with the light pink. Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite things, my favorite purchases that I made. I'm going to scoot in really close one last time before I finish the eyes. That way you can get a really good look at this eyeshadow before my lashes get in the way. I'm really happy with both of these palettes, actually. I think this surprised me the most. Kind of thought based on the swatches it was going to be incredibly disappointing. I think if it wasn't for the formula of the shadow, I wouldn't care for it. But because the shadow just blends so nicely and it has that really nice, dense, creamy feel to it, it just makes it so easy to use. I actually don't mind this eye at all. These are similar to colors that I normally wear. If I was only going to limit myself to one neutral palette, this wouldn't make the cut. But I do think it is really pretty. So if you like those warm, yummy, very fall foliage, pumpkin spice colors, it's a beautiful palette. The peach is mediocre. Everything else in the palette is nice. The gold tricked me at first. Applied with fingers, it's beautiful. My makeup is now complete for the evening. These are the finished eye looks. Very basic, very elementary looks using these palettes. Unfortunately, I did have to rush this one a little bit, but I did my best to give you an idea of what these eyeshadow palettes are capable of. I must say, the pink and the purple surprised me. I don't know if maybe I'm just coming around to these tones because I never wear purple eyeshadow, but I like this. I think this looks really pretty. I can see myself using these colors, and I honestly thought I would be most disappointed by this palette. Arm swatches only tell you so much. You really do have to test it on the eye. Does that mean you should run out and buy all 4 of these quads? No, absolutely not. If you're teetering on the fence about any of them, I say don't go for it because I really think you should only purchase things that you feel 100% excited about. But it's not bad. I will use it. I really like it, actually. And the Tweed Fauve, the 03 palette, I really like this as well. It's hard to tell which one of these two is my favorite because they're so different. And I feel like I need to see this eyeshadow combination on both eyes. It's really distracting seeing it only on one eye. But I love the way the shadows performed. I think the quality of these eyeshadows is outstanding. I hope Chanel makes all of their eyeshadows this formula. Whatever they did, it is creamy and dreamy. And even the two most questionable palettes for me in this collection ended up being winners. I really like them. Are they going to be the most incredible, outstanding, unique eyeshadow palettes in your collection? Probably not. Again, these colors are all dupable. They're even dupable within Chanel, although this formula does feel very different. If you are a diehard Chanel lover, you are going to love this collection. All of the little details, how the color of the tweed matches the colors of the eyeshadows, how intricate the design is that is embossed on top of the powder. I mean, just to see that in person, to feel how creamy these shadows are, they're beautiful. I think you will be very happy with your purchase. That completes today's video. I am going to get to editing right now. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it helpful, and this is going to make your shopping a little bit easier. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. If you picked up any of these palettes, let me know which one is your favorite, or let me know what you're planning to purchase down below in the comment section. I'm curious which one is going to be the crowd favorite. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned. Everything on my face will be listed down below in the description box for your convenience. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.